Standing on the top now. No, nothing can move you.
Well, good day, good day. Welcome to another episode of the Bobby Brown Show on the Go. I'm your host, Robert Bob TV Brown. How you doing today? Boy. Boy. That's all I can say. Let's talk about this story right here. Slapped on the wrist for being a part of the Capitol riots. That's right, so-called grandma gets a slap on the wrist for being part of the Capitol riots. And boy, are they running this grandma thing down the ground. Fair use in good faith. This work contains fair use of copyrighted material and non-copyright images from the public domain and the web for non-commercial or non-profit educational purposes. This work is distributed free of charge. That's right. Wish I was getting paid for this, but I'm not. The author has neither monetized this work nor sought any profit from its distribution. Can't, because it would be hard for me to tell this story without being struck and the whole video being taken down. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. That's right, when your mama was a flower power child and funk music was on the come up. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, research. For fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. You hear that, Google? Twitch? All you numbnut platforms out there? Facebook? This work contains original work of commentary and a critical analysis. Quotations are attributed to the original authors and its source. You know, I have to put that stuff out there all the freaking time. All the time. Because these people will strike you like they're the empire. They'll strike you back. Fox News. Indiana grandmother first to be convicted in Capitol riot cases avows nonviolence in Ingram interview. There were most of these reports were touting that grandma thing. USA 9, CBS, Indiana grandmother of 5 is first sentenced in Capitol riot. What's the difference between an Indiana grandmother of 5 and a Atlanta mother of 5? Here's another one. NBC. Indiana grandmother will be first person sentenced in the U.S. Capitol riot. Indiana grandmother. Indiana grandmother. Let's come out of this one. Let's go over here. I'm going to go ahead and read a little bit of this. Indiana grandmother 5, first to be convicted in Capitol riot case, avows nonviolence in Ingram interview. Now, here we are. We got this grandmother, not even 50 years old. So they're trying to paint her out to be this lowly old grandma. Come on, grandma. Don't go to jail, grandma. This lady is less than 50. I'm older than this lady. You think they gonna let me give me a slap on the wrist if I was a grandfather? You black grandfather from Bronx, New York gets off easy. No. And Indiana grandmother told the Ingram Angle on Thursday that her life has been turned upside down amid a report her court-appointed public defender coaxed coaxed her into drafting a written admission of white guilt as she became the first suspect in January 6th Capitol riot to be seasoned. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am. I don't know who your public defender is and how they coaxed you into a draft. How somebody convince you to draft up a letter talking about white guilt? Baby, ain't nobody got to talk about white guilt with you. The whole reason you got a slap on the wrist is because they're spending this white grandma of 5. I'm going to show you something real quick. I'll show you that later. But I'm going to let her talk on Laura Ingraham. You know how I feel about Laura Ingraham. Laura Ingraham is another. And I know y'all hate when I call these people this. But the proof is in the pudding. It's not critical race theory. This just one-on-one how to spot out a bigot. And it's easy to spot them out because they're always trying to cover up, trying to prove that they're not. When you double time prove that you're not, 9 times you are. But let's listen to this Ingram interview.
Now it's Lloyd of Bloomfield, Indiana, the first January 6th defendant to be sentenced after pleading guilty to a single charge of parading, which is a misdemeanor. Now, it's a far cry from the insurrection charges the media's been throwing around for months now. But what's more shocking is how the FBI hunted her down and put her in jail for 2 days for a misdemeanor charge.
Yeah, Laura Ingraham, the bigot, strikes again. Always trying to make an excuse for white people to do negative things, but won't make an excuse for black people to do negative things. Look, you do wrong. I don't care what color you are. You're wrong. I don't care about your party, your color, none of that stuff. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. Here she is trying to cover up. What, let me rewind what she just said. Where in the hell you get that from, Laura Ingraham? Parading. These people broke into the Capitol and they figured they was on a mission. They figured they had a reason for breaking in. Same reason why people buy steal steaks. Could have been various reasons. Don't mean they don't need to go to jail. I understand your reason, but that don't mean you don't need to go to jail for this, because this is against the law. Your president, God, look, gotta admit, Trump was my president too at that time. Whoever sits in the seat of office, I don't say that's not my president. That's the dumbest, stupid stuff in the world. You live in this country and they get elected, they're your president, whether you like it or not. You can deny it all you want. Just because you don't vote for him, don't make it him not your president. I didn't vote for neither one of these turkeys, but he's still my president. Even Trump himself says that anytime somebody alter or defame or breaks or any kind of government property, they should get 10 years. 10 minimum. Push that. Think you got it passed. She don't have to actually be the one who breaks the glass or breaks the door down. The fact that you are around a bunch of people who's doing that, everybody at one time can't do that, girl. It's not everybody's job. All those people at the rioters, can you imagine them trying to get at one door? Everybody can't do that. But for those who did, they need 10 years. And for those who accompany them, they need 10 years. How in the world, and see, this is where we talk about white privilege. I can go into a store, believe me, this has happened to me before. I go to the store, I buy a bottle of St. Ives. This was back in the 90s, St. Ives was popping. I go and buy a bottle of St. Ives with my money. I work, I got money. I go outside, I see my boy Chuck. Yo, Chuck, what's up, man? Give Chuck some dap. Waiting for Chuck to go outside. Chuck comes out. Police looking for Chuck. Why, I don't know. Police throws both of us on the ground. Police search Chuck. Chuck got a big bag of weed in his back pocket. Now, it's legal now. Chuck probably taking that weed. It didn't look like he was trying to sell it. He probably bought a bag of weed and was going home and smoke it. They arrested Chuck. They arrested me. Why? Because I was with, according to them, I'm with Chuck. I wasn't with Chuck. I was just waiting him to come outside. I just want to chop it up with Chuck a little bit. They got me for association. Association. They tried to pin all the charges that was on Chuck was on me. They stacked the charges. Chuck got possession of marijuana. Chuck got a possession of drug paraphernalia. Chuck got intent to distribute drugs. Who knows? And Chuck was carrying a weapon. What I got to do with that? I went to jail with Chuck. Don't be making no excuses for this so-called grandmother of 5 at the Capitol Riot. I don't care if you're a grandmother of 5. I don't care if you're a thought of 5. I don't care what you are. If you went in that Capitol and you was hanging out down with the program, you need to go to jail. Because if I'm down with the program, guess what? I'm going to jail. Heck, I'm not even down with the program. They still send me to jail. But let me finish. God, all right, be quiet.
Now, it's a far cry from the insurrection charges the media's been throwing around for months now. But what's more shocking is how the FBI hunted her down and put her in jail for 2 days for a misdemeanor charge.
The FBI hunted her down and put her in jail at 2 days. She was caught on surveillance, you bigot idiot. She was caught on surveillance. Of course, the FBI is going to hunt down everybody who walked in that Capitol. They're going to hunt them down, and they should. And they put her in jail. How long did they put her in jail, Laura Ingraham? Tell me, I'm going to rewind it. How long did they put this lowly old, not even 50-year-old grandmother 5 in jail? Not Mima. How long they had her, Mima, in jail?
What's more shocking is how the FBI hunted her down and put her in jail for 2 days.
2 freaking days. 2. 1, 2. Man, I'm telling you, boy, some of these people don't want to smoke. She crying over some white lady getting put in jail for 2 days. 2 freaking days. The FBI hunted her down and put her in jail for 2 days. She got it good. 2 days? I was almost in jail for 2 days just for helping a lady get on the train. Y'all some punks, man.
For a misdemeanor charge.
For a misdemeanor charge. What freaking you're trying to give the charge out? Let me take my watch my mama gave me. It's kind of, I want to free myself a little bit. They're trying to define a charge. That's what Laura Ingraham doing. Which is really defining a charge is really giving a lame excuse for this lady getting a slap on the wrist. The FBI hunted her down. Was she in the building? Yes. Didn't matter whether she broke anything or not. She was in the building unauthorized. And for you to call it parading and for you to call it misdemeanor is you being a bad actor or a bad actress in this case, Laura Ingraham. Now, we got her on the phone. We got her on the camera. Look at her. She gonna put on that sad face. She gonna put on my grandkids probably. She probably gonna say all that. See, I haven't seen this full video. So it's like a reaction to me. So I'm probably gonna be pissed off listening to this because I'm already pissed off listening to Laura Ingraham trying to whitewash this whole incident. Because had it been Black Lives Matter, and I'm not a fan of Black Lives Matter, the organization, but let's say it was a person of Black Lives Matter, the organization. Had they went to jail, she will be all on them. That's what they get. They're a terrorist organization and they're Marxists and blah, blah, bunch of LGBTQ and fix me a sandwich and make sure you put some pickles on it. Anything she can think of to make them look bad. But listen to this. We got the grandmother of 5, who's not even 50 years old, probably still going to the club. Probably still, come on, man. Come on.
Anna Morgan Lloyd joins me now. Anna, were you ever really told why you were held for 2 days?
I was just waiting to see a judge.
I don't know. I was just waiting to see a judge. 2 freaking days. Now understand this, Laura Ingram, since you are a news person and because you probably don't know nothing about how the jail system works, they can hold you in a cell for 72 hours without even getting you a court reporter, attorney, or whatever. Now, they can't keep you unless they move to the process of getting you charged and convicted, but they can keep you in a cell for 72 hours. Now, how long is 2 days, Miss Smarty Pants, work for Fox News, getting paid $1 million, but don't know nothing? 2 days is only 48 hours. Now look at this look on her face. Look at her eyebrows. That, raise your eyebrows up when you're in front of the camera and look all lowly and cause we got to get the people's sympathy. Y'all don't do that with no black grandma on a TV. Black grandma going to a town hall meeting about something about to get built in her neighborhood, and she continues to talk. Y'all ready to run her in jail for a whole week.
Were you a flight risk?
No. I've lived in the same area all my life.
And they give you this public defender who then makes you read a script or asks you to read a script.
Now understand this. You ain't got to get a freaking public defender, lady. You could have got your own attorney. She probably didn't have the money, Laura, so stop trying to make a big deal out of this. She probably didn't have the money, and 2 days of jail was probably so atrocious to her that she was willing to go along and get along to get her butt out of jail. Well, all you have to do is admit that you were wrong and you did wrong and all stuff like that, and you're not going to do it again. They do that for a variety of cases, especially when it comes to young kids. Admit that you're wrong. Go do a little community services. Bada boom, bada bing. This is off your record. She was part of the crew that broke into the Capitol. Part of the crew that broke the perimeters, bypassed Capitol Police, whooped they behind, got into the Capitol, couldn't get in at first, so some, not her maybe, but some said, that's okay, we gonna break the window, we gonna break the door, we all going in. As soon as they break the window, they break the door, they all go in, including her. What do you call that? It's breaking and entering. I don't have to be the one to actually break the window. It's called breaking and entering for a reason. It don't matter whether you broke and entered or whether you just break or whether you just entered. The fact of the matter is still considered breaking and entering, and that is a charge of at least 10 to 20 on a local level. Now, Trump put this out here. Your boy, put it out there. We're going to stop people from defaming our great American property, statues, you name it. If you do this, you're going to get 10 years. And if you do that, you got to be willing to take it. It's fine if you're willing to take a stand and you're willing to deal with the 10 years. To me, toppling these statues coming down, they need to take them down. Rather than take them down legally. But now Laura Ingram going to try to gain sympathetic Oh, they forced me to do this. Nah, you were so happy you wanted to get out of jail, and now you're trying to save face.
About how you're learning, and basically I'm paraphrasing, but evolving as a person. What did that make you feel like?
So somebody say admit that you're wrong. Admit that this was something that you regret doing and that you're never going to do it again. That mean they're calling you a racist and getting you to admit that you're racist. See, folks, that's the whole point, and that is why they're trying to make this critical race theory a huge, big thing in America, is because they want to flip the script and call you racist for assuming that they're racist. They want to devalue that word. They want to take away the potency of calling somebody a racist and a bigot. They want to taste it because white people are starting to feel shame to be called that. Welcome to America. You've been calling us the N-word and all kinds of stuff. Now you feel how we feel. Now, most people are not calling white people racist. Most of the time, your actions make you racist. Nobody really calling you. We can see clearly that you are Laura Ingraham without you actually saying it.
Well, at first it concerned me that she thought I was racist, but I read the books. It didn't bother me because I'm not racist. And they were interesting. And, you know, I would recommend anybody read Just Mercy, because it was a very emotional book.
It was an emotional book. It also was a movie played by Michael B. Jordan. She's trying to get some sympathy. Good on her.
Emotional book, but it didn't bother me. I was more than willing to read them because I'm not racist.
Reading the book Just Mercy doesn't mean you're racist. I read the book. I watched the movie. I'm not racist. Heck, white people produced the movie. Are they racist? That has nothing to do with racism. They people are bucking up and getting in your face, and when they see any bigotry or racism coming out of you, they're going to address you about it. But you want to say that it's everywhere, that we believe it's everywhere. And the reason we believe it everywhere, because we look at you. Because we look at you, and if we say you got it, then you one of those everyone's a racist believer. Nobody believes everybody racist. Might have a little prejudice in us, might have a little bias in things, but that don't mean you're racist. The original term for racism was a launch out to control the entire world. Who's going to get the most land? Who's going to get the most property? Who's going to get the most wealth? That was the original premises of racism. And this was that the Caucasian cultures decided to do it by any means necessary. And that kind of mentality, if it's still going on today, that's racism. Now, for us calling you a white supremacist or a bigot, that is totally different from racism. And that's why I'm shocked and amazed that people don't know the difference between the three. But there was a time I didn't know the difference between the three. Nobody's calling you a racist, lady, because clearly you're not in this thing to race. But for you being around a bunch of bigots and following these bigots into the White House to do things because your bigotry against other people are at an all-time high, afraid that they're going to take something away from you. Jews will not replace us.
Why did you go to the Capitol that day?
I went to support Donald Trump, to show my support. And we met an elderly lady that day, and she headed up the steps, and I wanted to protect her.
Go and get them sympathy. Go and get you some sympathy, girl. Go ahead and get it. I don't blame you. Go and get that sympathy. I need some sympathy. Oh, we saw an old lady, elderly lady, and we wanted to help her up. That may be true. But what you should have been doing is saying, man, we don't need to be going in there. Let them go in there. We don't need to be doing that. It is against the law to be breaching the perimeters of the Capitol without authorization, and that was not authorized. Grandma, I'm a grandma too. You're probably great grandma in the wheelchair, right? You got grandbabies? I got grandbabies too. Let's get out of here and go to get a hamburger. Been better off doing that.
And I wanted to protect her because I would have felt terrible if she went up those steps that day and was hurt. So I went up the steps behind her to protect her. And when she went into the building, my friend turned to me and she's like, she went in. So we went in to get her out just to keep her safe.
Did you see people smashing, statues or police officers or barricades or fire extinguisher, whatever they were saying? Did you see any of that? Because it's on film that some of that did occur.
Well, where I was at, we seen nobody damage anything.
That's not the point. Whether they damaged, whether they pooped on Nancy Pelosi's desk or not. The point is, you were not authorized to enter that building. You broke the perimeters of the building. You went in there, and you and Grandma went right along with them. And if you do that, then that's part of breaking and entering. Not only are there different other federal charges behind that. Now, when it comes to black people, they like to stack many charges on there to make sure your butt don't get free. They charge you from, up to Wahoo or Wazoo. They'll find anything they could charge you on to stack it on. But clearly, they're not doing it in this situation.
And people were actually very polite. I had a young man accidentally knock my phone out of my hands, and he's like, "Oh, excuse me." And he hurried up and picked up my phone and made sure it was okay. If anybody bumped into anybody, it was "excuse me." And people were very polite.
So everybody was polite. There was raising hell outside. The Proud Boys, the whole 9 yards. And now everybody, once they break into the place and enter the place, all of a sudden, these polite pixie dust just fell on everybody. Whoa! And everybody just decided, "You, sir. No, you go there, sir. Oh, excuse me, sir. Pardon me, sir. Would you like me to help you poop on Nancy Pelosi's desk right here? I'll take the seat. You take the desk. Where's Chuck Schumer's office, sir? Oh, pardon me. I thought his office over here. Come on, man."
And there was nobody was breaking anything. And it was calm enough that people were actually walking out of the Capitol building that worked there, walked right past us. And they had no fear on their face at all.
You hear this? You hear this bull crap? You hear this crap? Oh, most of the people were nice and they were sensitive. I had one guy hit my phone and he said, "Excuse me, ma'am. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. You want me to wipe it off? I got some electrical wipes and I can wipe that off for you since I knocked it out your hand. Don't want you to get COVID,
When they call it an insurrection, what do you say?
I can only talk about the area I was in, and I don't believe it. But as I said, that's only from the area I was at in the Capitol. People were not breaking the windows. We see nothing.
Now, you see this? Do you see this? First of all, come on, lady. Look here, Anna Morgan Lloyd. Sentenced to 3 years probation. 3 years probation. Now, I honestly believe when she found out what she was up against and she had the option to not snitch, but just admit that she learned her lesson, signed this paper, because that's what you do. You sign a paper and you leave. Man, we be going through all kind of stuff. Just say this and we'll let you go. Rat this person out, snitch this person out, we'll let you go. And we sit here and say, "Bro, I'm just going to go to jail because I ain't no snitch." You see the different treatment? She walks into a federal building that was broken into. Nice ain't got nothing to do with it. It was a breaking and entering. Anybody who broke into the Capitol and actually entered the Capitol without going through the proper protocols, according to Trump, they should get 10 years. It don't matter whether you was nice and being cordial and look here, sorry about that, Miss Lady. But they try to make light out of this stuff. Laura Ingraham is trying to make light of this stuff, and he's using her as a puppet to make light of this stuff. And shame on you, Laura Ingraham. Shame on you. But this, when you look at the epitome of bigotry, her. That's why it's not the fact that racism is everywhere and this and that and that you can't get away from it. No, it's just that you have racist people. Some of them on the down low, some of them up in your face, some of them in the middle. Laura Ingraham, in your face. Tucker Carlson, in your face. Bill Maher, in your face. We're going to talk about him and dealing with this Latino brother. I can go on and on and on. Then you got the up front, Trump, up front ugly. Mitch McConnell, up front ugly. You got the middle ones, Joe Manchin. President of the United States right now, Joe Biden. He done went to the middle. He was up front, but he then got old and he kind of went down a couple levels, but he's still a bigot.
So you just walked in and...
Yeah, we followed a 74-year-old woman in to get her out. She didn't fight anybody to get in. We seen police officers standing in that back hallway. They were standing and they were relaxed. They didn't tell anybody to leave. They were talking and chatting with people.
Y'all believe this crap, man? What the? That's because they probably one of y'all. Insiders.
How has this affected your life?
Well, I didn't even get to go back to work. I was fired from my job at Cook Medical, and I'd been there 13 years, and they didn't even bother to ask me what my part in that day was. They didn't even bother to ask me if I was violent or if I even seen any violence. I was fired. I didn't even go back to work to get my stuff. They sent it through FedEx.
Do you have a job now?
No. My husband wants me to stay home and be a mamaw.
Husband, mother of 5, can't get a job. My husband want me to stay home. Everybody was cordial. We were polite. We was even having good time with the police officers there. Wasn't nothing really going bad. Not in my section. Other section maybe, but no, we were fine. We were great. Oh yeah, we're going to get a campfire in the middle of, Chuck Schumer's office. We're going to build a campfire and we're going to sing good old traditional American songs. America, America, God shed his grace on thee. Yeah, you need to go to penitentiary.
Anna, thank you for telling this story. And this is just, it's like I can't even believe I'm hearing any of this.
Yep, that's exactly what it was. A story, a bald-faced lie. Now let's listen to, now this is her with 3 people. Where's the old lady in the wheelchair? Is this the old lady in the wheelchair? Now this guy might be in a wheelchair, look like he's sitting down in a wheelchair, but she sure don't look like she's in a wheelchair. Come on, lady. All right, let's go listen to this. In order for her to get off, they made a deal. Just admit that you're wrong. Read this book. Get a subscription to the History Channel. What that got to do with a subscription? You realize how dumb this is? Let me play that again. Now, you heard from her. She said, I was forced or coerced to sign this paper. You know you wouldn't. Stop lying. You just knew you didn't want to be in jail. The 2 days was too tough for you, let alone 3. You wanted any way out. As soon as you got a way out, you had to eat that nasty behind hard bread with that hard peanut butter, no jelly. I didn't know because I've been there. You couldn't even get no cereal. You got some milk, low-fat milk if you were lucky. And you got some old tired old cereal, Cheerios. You couldn't even get no Frosted Flakes, no Raisin Bran, Fruit Loops, none of that. You're in a holding cell. You're not in prison. You're not in regional jail where they feed you good. You're in a holding cell. And then you got other people that's poo-pooing. There's only one toilet. It's like 30 y'all in the jail. One toilet. You got a poo-poo. You trying to hold it as much as you can, hoping you get out. But after a while, you can't hold it no more. So you're going to have to ask for some toilet paper because they're not keeping toilet paper in there. And if you get lucky to get the toilet paper after an hour, you asking, you're afraid to poop around these people because it's a million people in the doggone cell with you. I got to poop around? No, I'll take any. Don't, folks, I'm telling you, don't believe this crap. She was ready to get out. You could have put out there, I killed Adolf Hitler, and she would have signed that quick, fast, in a hurry. Trump sucked, I can't stand the son of a gun. She would have signed that. She wouldn't have said, I'll never sign that. I'm a Trump loyalist. Let's do this. No, she would have sold Trump out in a minute. The unfairness of the media. Laura Ingraham should be ashamed of herself. Her and Tucker Carlson are two peas from the pod. Don't let me get on Morning Joe and Mika. They go through this narrative, grandmother 5, to make you feel sympathetic. And then when we finally go doing the news runs, I was trying to stop the elderly lady from getting in. And get out of here with that crap. Get out of here. They wasn't doing anything on my side. I mean, my side, all I could talk about is my side. But on my side, oh, we're fine and dandy. Everybody was happy and polite. We gave out hugs. Pastor preached a sermon on love over there. We had a bonfire over there, and we all held hands and saying, "Kumbaya, my Trump, kumbaya." Get out of here with that mess. This is double standard. Double standard. If it was me, or if it was some other person that was not a part of that crew, and I'm quite, there was like a couple of black people there, idiots, trying to fight for a man that ain't gonna fight for you. It's not fair. A lame excuse to slap this lady on the wrist when she was a part of that riot too. No excuses should be allowed. You went in. You made that decision to go after that so-called grandma. Anybody can make a story. And how come the grandma, is the grandma locked up? Is the grandma out of jail? Is the grandma doing rounds? Is the grandma speaking to news networks? Is the grandma going to be on Laura Ingraham? Are y'all going to continue to paint this junk? Try to make this an innocent thing and it's not? The Capitol building has a perimeter. It should not be breached. When the Medicare for All people stepped on one step, they all came out there to stop them from getting in. And guess what they did? They stopped. You guys didn't stop. You told them to shut up, ran them over, burned stuff, tore stuff down, broke and entered. And you want to be picky and choosy on who gets what. That's not even fair for the ones who gonna really get it. Everybody should get the same thing on the breaking and entering. Now, the damage of property, different story. Inside the building. So, folks, I'm done with this one, man. If this happened to one, it's gonna continue to happen to more people. And this judge may be light on it, but he may be light on somebody else, but there are going to be other judges going to have sympathy for the grandmas out there or the grandpas, and they just going to give them probation. And if they see the American public being okay with the probation, more of the probation is going to go out. And the American public should not stand for this stuff. We got to stop being mammy-pammy punks and start letting our voices be known. This ain't right, because if it was me, it was my mama in her 70s. If it was my mama, she's a great grandma. It was my mama, she would still be locked up. And I think it's 8 to 10% of first-time criminals are people over 55 years old. Over some stupid stuff. Anyway, I'm done. Shame. Slapping these people on the wrist for breaking into the Capitol. I don't care who you are. Even if you were 17, 16, 15 and you participated in that crap, you need to go down. You must pay the time if you do the crime. So why should it be any different? Why should it be any different just cause you're 44, still got your legs, still can handle anything, still can go to the club, hang out with the girls, probably hang out better than the young girls? Huh? Really? Get out of here.